Have you ever thought how Netflix works when somebody uploads a video? How the Prime customers or the free customer, how they get the video? So in this example, we'll be discussing about the entire scenario, system design. We'll go through the coding. So please stay connected till the end of the video. We'll discuss each and every point. So in this video, I'll be assuming Netflix has both Prime and free. I know Netflix only has Netflix. It doesn't have any free account or anything. But just for example, let's go over the scenario wherein it has Prime and Netflix free, and there is an admin or there are some person who will be uploading the video, and it will be distributed amongst both Prime and the free members. And for the Prime members, there will be notifications, as well as for the free members also there will be notifications. But the Prime members, they won't get any disturbance, in the sense they won't get any advertisement, and the Prime members can download the video offline. Wherein the free members, there will be disturbances, like every 10 minutes there will be advertisements. Till the 50% of the buffering of the video, it will stop and it will ask for the payment or subscription. And let's say the notifications and everything, there will be email to both the customers. So let's deep dive into the system design of this. And if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I'll be going over my system design. There can be n number of system designs, but please you just do a homework. I'll just pause my video for 5 minutes and you just come up with your solution as well. Alright, I just finished my coffee, so I hope you have the solution ready. So in this scenario, right, we'll be discussing about the uploading of the video and how it can be divided into two parts. Let's say primary, Netflix free. There can be one more part, let's say the trial version of it, Netflix trial, or let's say if somebody wants to try for 1 month, so that also you can do. But let's stick to these two users as of now. So based upon my understanding, right, so this is the system design. I have done it, so I'll go each and every steps how it works, right? So for example, if somebody upload a video, and what first it will do, so this is one service which basically orchestrates everything. Now this upload service, once you upload the video or the file, first what it will do, it will call the file storage service. Now this file storage service, it will store the file into the DFS or the distributed file system. Let's say for example AWS S3 or Google Drive as well. So first it will store the raw file. Maybe if it is more than, let's say, some 1 GB or something, that it will split the file and will keep into the same location, and then it will just return back, or it can be a synchronous process as well. So that is the first service. What it will do, it will call this DFS and then store the file. Now once I have the raw file, so we have to make sure that this file is get it ready by read by all the devices. When I say devices, it can be a laptop, mobile, it can be a TV, it can be anything, right? So there are so many devices out there. So for that, all this is a heavy duty work, right? For that we need to run this in the batch mode. So for batch, what you can do, I am using Spring Scheduler, right? So the Spring Scheduler, what it will do, it will run this, it will take these files and then it will basically do a resolution. So when I say resolution, there can be 4K, 2K, and many other there, right, based on the screen size. So that portion it will do, and again it will store in the DFS location, right, in terms of segments. Now once the segments are ready, what we'll do, we'll be storing the data into the database, right? So for this, I'll choose the database as Oracle, as because we'll be storing the metadata of it, and we can create an index on the content ID and the content name. The content ID, it will be a numeric number, and the name will be the string, right? So on that I can create the index and it will run very fast. It can handle lots of data, right? So that is the Oracle database or RDMS data we can select over here, right? So now once this database insertion is done, what we can do, we can push one message into the Kafka or any messaging queue using the pubsub, and again it will come back to the upload service. So upload service will be the subscriber, or it will consume the message from this pubsub topic. Now once you have this message over here, which is nothing but the metadata of it, which will having the content ID, content type, the content location URL, which are nothing but the different type of segments. I can show you what is segments, by the way. We can go to YouTube and check, right? So this segments, once it is done, it will come over here in different chunks, and then we'll be having the Kafka publisher. Now from this Kafka publisher, the entire game starts to divide and rule. So we have this this Kafka producer or the topic. This is a topic, right? So this topic we have, as of now, I just created two consumers. So we can create multiple based on the locations. Maybe I can come to the technical part of it. So as of now, just think I have two. We can scale out. We can scale out very easily. So now this prime consumer and the free consumer. Now free consumer, as I discussed right during the requirement, it will have the advertisement, it will have the subscription, and there will be notification, right? And there will be prime consumer where it will go only the notification, and the it can download the offline also. So let's say some notification it will come, right? It generally comes in our YouTube, right, once we subscribe. So that kind of model it can do, right? So once all the message will come, right, so what we can do, we can enhance this and add and then store into the Redis database. Now why Redis database? As because this data, it will be consumed by many consumers. There will be billions of users there across the globe. So the Redis is a key value kind of database, right? So what you can do, you can store in this format the entire content. Let's say whatever the segments so this is the segments. It can video segment URL 1, URL 2, right? So for this content type, content ID, so we can store what all the advertisements and what is the hard stop. Let's say hard stop will be up to 50%, right? So that regex we can put over here, and then the different segments we can put over here. So that is for the free customers. Now in this case, the prime, right, we can remove advertisement, hard stop, all these things we can remove, right? And we can store this data into the Redis. So because the design what we are making is the system is a read heavy design, right? So everything should be there in the cache, or in the cache what we can do, the movies which are very frequently used or recently released, we can keep in the cache as well to make the performance more so the performance will be more actually. Okay, so I hope this is clear, right? So let me know in comments if you have any other thoughts regarding the design. So the coding wise, what I'll do, I'll assume that the upper portion of it will be done by some other team, and I'll be consuming the message from this PubSub. And once this PubSub it consumes, it will call it divide into two parts, which is the one is the primary and the free consumer. And once the free consumer will be adding, we'll do the data enhancement over here and store in the Redis. Again, the Redis portion also I'll not do, or I'll do the bare minimum stuff, consumer, producer, and then the Kafka publishing of it. Okay, now let's go to this topic, and from the topic I'll start coding. So you can see already I have this offset explorer. So if you don't know what is offset, it's basically you can see the topics and everything. And with the interest of time, what I did, I actually made sure that everything is up and running in my system, so that we can finish the video pretty quickly. Okay, looks like my Docker is not running. So what we'll do, I'll run my Docker. So this Docker Compose, let me explain this Docker Compose once. So I already have this Docker Compose file. So what you can do, you can download my project and you can run on top of it. But before you run the Docker, right, you must make sure that you have this Docker desktop. And in the Docker desktop, I'll be using these two Kafka images, basically Kafka and Zookeeper images. These two images I'll be using it. So you make sure that Kafka desktop it's up and running. Basically you start this and then come over here in this project. I already have this Docker Compose file. You just go to your terminal and in the current directory just run it, right? So once it is done, you can see like Docker, if you do Docker PS, you will see both of the containers is up and running. I can see only Zookeeper is up and running. So let me make sure that both of them are up and running. Okay, I just rerun once again after stopping this, and now I can see Docker PS. If I run, I can see both the images. Now both the containers are up and running, right? Now it can come over here and see ping if it works. Yeah, it's working. So to download this, you just go to Google and just write Offset Explorer. It will download automatically, right? Now in my example, I'll be creating this. Oops, I already have this topic already, right? So this topic, I just made partition 1, and based on requirement, we can make more partitions. Let's say I need more consumers, I can increase the number of partitions. I think those are the Kafka, the topic. So you can see the partition, right? Only one partition is there. Now you can go to data and run this. Since I was doing already this stuff, so already this data is already present, right? And then the consumers. So I have this free account, then prime member account. So these two, the group IDs are already there, right? So if you just see the offsets, already 5 is there. So that I was already working on this, right? And then I created this video. Now let's go to the code so that I can show you. Okay, this is the publisher. So for publisher, I am maintaining over here, the compose YML file. In the compose YML file, as you can see here, it's running on port 9092, and you can see the topic name, my content topic. So if I come over here in offset, that's what you are saying. So if you don't have, initially you might not have this, right? So once you run this, once you run this Docker Compose YML file, you will have this automatically will get created, my content topic. So you can see here my content, this topic name over here, right? So once it's got created, you can see here the partition is only one I have mentioned, right? And you don't need any replication factor and all these things, because everything we're working in local. If you need all these things, production ready application, you have to consider all these values. Now for the prediction Kafka producer, you need the value serializer and the basically key and value. For the key, we are using the string, and the value we will be using the JSON. So you can see over here, I am using the JSON serializer, and I am using the string, right? Because that's the object we will send, and we'll be storing it, right? Now I'll be using this JSON Kafka template, because some of the cases we need Avro also. So if you don't know JSON, Avro, string kind of values, we can discuss in a separate video. But for this case, right, I'll be using the JSON Kafka template. So this JSON Kafka template, if you see over here, producer service. Yeah, so this is what I'm doing it with the qualifier. So this Kafka template right now, it has those values, serializer, deserializer, bootstrap servers, all these config values. Now I'm just sending those messages to the topic, to this topic, right? Now for this, for publishing the data, what I did actually, if I go back here to my, so let's say this pops up, it push the data. So instead of pushing this, I'll just create one sample API, and that API I will hit, and it will push in the data into the Kafka topic, right? And that API is nothing but, if I go to the controller, so I have created this API. So it ultimately push the data into the Kafka topic. So it's calling the send, right? And this send is nothing but ultimately it's pushing the data into this topic, right? So this is the publisher. Now, as I said right in the diagram, I'll be having two consumers. One is the prime and one is the free consumer. And if I come over here, you can see here the consumers are the free account and the prime member. So let's go over there. So this is my prime consumer, and if you can see here, right? So this Kafka listener, I have this topic name as a my content topic, and the group ID you can see here prime member, which is nothing but the same like this. So this is the prime member. Now before we annotate this with the Kafka listener, we have to make sure that the bootstrap servers, everything is ready, right? So we have to make sure that the bootstrap server is the same as which we have mentioned in the publisher. so which is 9092, and the deserializer, key deserializer, the value deserializer, right? So once you do this, you have to make sure that the trusted store. So this trusted store is very important. If you don't mention that, it will give the error, right? And then you have to make sure that the container factory is ready. So once this been ready, then we can do at the rate Kafka listener, and then everything automatically it should work, right? So I just I just make sure that this content metadata, right, which we are receiving the data, it's the same, the Pojo class which we are mentioning over here, the publisher. So you can see here I am mentioning this Pojo class same as both of them. Otherwise, it will not work. You just make sure that you both of them are, because it has to deserialize that. So if it doesn't find that, it will give an exception for deserialization. Okay, now coming back to the normal consumer, again the same configuration I have maintained. It's the same configurations, just only difference is it has the free account, right? So this free account, you can see over here, this is the free account. Now if you can debate, right, I need one more consumer for the trial, because Netflix can give the trial also for 1 month or 2 months, right? So that also we can create on consumer, right? Okay, so what is the benefit of doing this? So the benefit is basically I am just making sure that the both whatever the consumers are there, free consumer and prime consumer, they are logically different, and all the if else condition, nothing is there, so everything is separate, right? So we can scale out this guy, the prime consumer as the free consumer separately, right? And if we as you know, right, the Netflix is all over the world, right? So what we can do, we have this number of customers, right, and the topic, and if you see this group IDs, so what we can do based on the geolocation, let's say for example, the prime member India, prime member Australia, prime member US, right? That kind of different we can create the groups, and based on all these groups, right, I can send the messages. So, and we can put the different logics over there. So now that's how we can scale it, right? And the same with the free account as well, right? Now if you need more consumers in the sense, right, in one group, right, one consumer cannot handle such a load, right, because we will be storing in the Redis. Then we have to do, we have to partition this. So currently I am maintaining only one partition, but you have to more partition you have to do, so that one for each of the consumers, right, it will go to each of the partition, and then it will start consuming the offsets, right? So that's how the pooling mechanism we can do. Okay, now this consumer is ready. So let's do one thing, let's run the services, and let's push up the one of the messages, and we'll see how it works, right? Let me run publisher. Let me go to other two services, consumer, in fact prime consumer. This is the normal consumer, I mean this is the free consumer where we are calling the advertisement. So for the advertisement we are using the REST client. I mean you can put lot of the logics over here based on the requirements, right? Okay, so I think the producer, it's up and running, right? Let's see what about the prime consumer is up. This guy is still alright. Let's come back to the postman and hit this endpoint which we have created to publish the data, the metadata in fact. So it has this content ID, all these values segments. So if you can remember, right, let me go back once again. So it has this values, it came from here and it push into this upload service. This upload service, now it will push the message into the Kafka, and both the consumers, it will get all the content. Now if I hit this endpoint, right, what it will do, it will push the message into the Kafka topic. Now once I hit this, right, let's come over here and let me refresh. So you can see number 6 it's come. Now Let me pull a little bit here. So you can see here demo 1 2 3 4, it came this data. So that means that it published successfully. Demo 1 2 3 4, it published successfully. Now let's go to the consumers. So now you can see the offset number 6. So these guys also should have offset 5, I can see, but let me refresh it once again. It has 7, right? Now let's go to the publisher logs. Okay, this is the consumer. Okay, hold on. So I can see the consumer also, it has received the messages, right? You can see here the demo 1 2 3 4, all these values it came, right? And this is the prime. This guy also received the data, right? Let's go to publisher. You can see here it should publish successfully. That message should come. Yeah, so you can see here it published the message successfully, right? Yeah, so that's what the demo I was looking for to give, right? So normal, what you can do for normal customer or the free customer, what we can do, we can write the logic over here, right? We can write the logic over here, and then we can write the code for storing into the Redis, including all of them, right? Which I'm showing over here, right? So I can store like this so that the data is already ready in the Redis. So once it will, if somebody click on the content, it will immediately, it will get all these values, and then it will read all this data from the CDN, basically the content delivery, right? So that's how it should be. And the same for, it will go for this, but it won't have the advertisement and other these things, right? So that is what I was thinking. Let me know in comments if you have any more questions I can address. Thank you so much. And if you have any, you know any further uh, system design, right, or if you have any questions regarding the system design, let me know, right? So just before we wind up, right, so I think what you can do, this uh, member, right, the prime member, so this prime consumer, so this system, right, it should be fail proof, in the sense that it should be fault tolerant. So what you can do, we can put more memory to this, right? We can use the resiliency for 4J for this, right? So that if anything, any message drop happen, right, it can retry. So all these things you can do for the prime customer, because that is the main motive, right? Because these guys have subscribed, right? So that means they are paying for us, for the company. So that's how we can do. So that code, maybe in the next video I can do it. Okay, thank you very much.